What's going on YouTube? My name is Mr. Crippled, and today I'm going to be talking about the top 3 easiest hunters to play in Smite 2. Now, before we get into the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and if you'd like to keep up with any future content, we'll be leaving a link to my Discord and my Twitch in the description below. Now, hunter role is probably one of the harder roles to play. Not as hard as like jungle or support, so I'd probably say it's like number 3. Simply because early game you do need to have your hand held for a little bit while the support carries you, and you get cards online so you can do damage to objectives and towers, or objectives and enemies. And so these 3 gods are going to help you basically get a handle on the role without having to use too much brain power. Now, at number 3, we're going to talk about Neith, and Neith specifically with her aspect. If you remember my mage video, I mentioned her as being one of the easier mages in mid because her ability-based build hits extremely hard. Now, with her aspect, it makes her a really easy hunter. So, if you don't know, one of Neith's whole thing is playing around these weaves on the ground. When these weaves are on the ground, she gets an increase to her damage, and she gets a small increase to her attack speed, and they detonate and root the target. With the aspect, it takes away the root, and the weave doesn't, or the buff you get from the weave doesn't last as long. However, the buffs you get, the attack and the attack speed, well, mostly just the attack speed, are significantly increased. Also, your ultimate, it doesn't matter how much you charge it, when you cast it, you get a fat amount of stacks towards your broken weave. So if you look here, see, I got 6 stacks, and now I attack a lot faster, even though I don't have any attack speed. So you get a significant amount of attack speed with this aspect. So building her like an ADC, she's going to be nuking very, very quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what to do and what to build on her. Most ADCs right now, their builds are kind of flexible. They don't really have like a set build. There's a build on Smite Swords where you go Bumber Spear. There's a generic one with Devos. There's one with no stacks. So I'm going to go over all 3. So the first one and the most safest one to go is the one with no stacks.
Your middle tower
so I would recommend either going Leather's Cowl or Death's Toll. There's not really any cases where you're going to go Gilded Arrow. Not that Gilded Arrow is bad, but because you lack survivability with this card early for the trade-off in semi-farm, it's not that good. So either stick with Leather's Cowl or Death's Toll. Leather's Cowl is good if you want to have a little bit more self-sustained survivability with a team-wide buff to give extra attack speed. While Death's Toll is a little bit more selfish, but you get a lot. You get a lot more sustain. Personally, I like going Death's Toll, but the extra attack speed isn't bad, so you can literally go one or the other. For Neith, though, I would go Leather's Cowl just for the extra attack speed. After this, you're going to want to go Dagger of Frenzy. Dagger of Frenzy is a very, very broken ADC card. They haven't really changed it. It still gives crazy amount of strength, a good amount of attack speed, and the active basically gives you more basic attack damage, an extra 30% attack speed for the next 5 basics, and killing somebody with this refreshes the cooldown. And the dumb thing about this, if you look, is that it's only on a 15-second cooldown. So not only is this good for killing enemy gods, but this is incredible for taking objectives. You literally always want to have this popped at any given moment because of how much attack speed it gives you with just these 2 cards alone. And if you pair this with Neith's Weave, she can get basically a crazy amount of attack speed just out the gate. Right? So the next card you want to build. A lot of people you'll see build Bragi's Harp. This is a good card on Neith since she does have dual scaling, so she'll get strength and intelligence with a little bit of attack speed. I personally don't like building this card. That's just me, because I feel like it's a waste of a card slot when you could be building something that has more pen, but the extra damage is always nice. But for me personally, I like going Quinn Size. Quinn Size immediately lets you at least be able to fight the squishy and the tank early. That way you can kind of get a lead. If you want to go crit, you can go Demon Blade here. That way you can get a little bit of a head start. You are going to be building some crit in this build, so keep that in mind. But after this card, I go Demon Blade, and then I go Executioner, I go Deathbringer, and then I go Dominance. This build is pretty consistent. It does rely a little bit on the late game, and more mid game than anything. And you're going to be losing out on a little bit of pen because you're not going to be building Devils and a little bit of sustain. But because most characters are going to be building anti-heal, the Devils really isn't going to help you as far as sustain goes. So you're mostly just building it for the extra damage and the extra pen. But with this build, you're going to nuke somebody before they even get the chance. So the generic thing that you want to do with this character is every time you want to go in, whether you're kill confirming with this ult or not, you want to ult. So you want to ult somebody and get this buff up as soon as possible. Yes, this is a good kill confirming ult, but this changes, the aspect changes how Neath plays. This ult is not meant to kill, this ult is meant to set you up. So what you're going to do is you're going to ult somebody to get the stun, top dagger frenzy, and just go ham. As you can see, this build hurts. And let's say you're going against a tank, right? And the tank will probably have around 280 defense. Right? Even with this amount, they're gonna get nuked pretty quickly.
You have slain an enemy. Deicide.
And this lasts for a very long time. The game plan is to always have that uptime on the weaves as much as possible when you're fighting. And even though the duration doesn't last super long, it lasts long enough to where it's gonna make a huge difference. So game plan, put down these weaves, detonate them, and then just hold R2 until the cows come home.
You have slain.
So at number 2, I want to go ahead and talk about Danzaburo. Now, this character, I'm going to show you the other build with the Devil stack, so don't be worried. But Danzaburo is a very, very interesting character. Probably my favorite hunter in the game right now, I'm not even going to lie. Because his aspect and his base kit are both good. If you want a stun, he has that. He will kind of get a stun. This is more of a taunt. So anybody hit by this, and after it hits them 3 times, they'll be forced to attack the little bottle that you throw, giving you free poke damage, right? The other thing that they made a change with this character is that now he can duplicate himself. So every time he hits somebody, he has like a little chance to spawn a little clone of himself. Let's see if I can get it. See? Yep. There it is. He has a smaller chance to spawn a clone of himself. The 3 will double the chance that he innately has. If you look above his little icon there, you can see he has a 15% chance for every auto to spawn a clone. If you pop your 3, it gives you, lets you ignore the movement speed penalty. You get double the chance, and then when you exit out of it, your next auto is going to do extra damage. He also has his taunt, which makes it a lot easier for him to kind of burn you down. And then this move right here. When you're up close, it does a lot of damage. When you're far away, it kind of does good damage. But it's a really solid clear move nonetheless. And then the ultimate is very good because you can either aim this at somebody and just let it shoot at them on its own, or you can hop in it and manually aim it, which is very good for chasing people down. And if it hits, it does a massive amount of damage and it stuns. So they had to take the choice of whether or not they want to Aegis it or they want to Beads it. And either way, it hits hard enough to where getting Aegis is, good enough, and the stun lasts long enough to where you're going to need Beads against it anyway. So it's a double whammy of an ult. And it's on a fairly low cooldown, so this character is very, very strong. The aspect, if you turn it on, this stun, or your 2, no longer will taunt enemies. Instead, it'll automatically pop 2 clones. This will also make your clones hit harder and have them be a little bit tankier. So if you want to play around the clones, that's also very good to have as well. You just lose a little bit of CC. However, the good trade-off on this that I think makes it worth it is the fact that your clones can hit objectives. So with this on, you're going to be solo nuking objectives very, very, very quickly. I'm pretty sure with Dagger Frenzy, Quinsides, and just Demon Blade, he can solo Gold Fury the second he gets those cards online because of how many clones he can spawn at once. Now, there are 2 different builds with Danzaburo specifically that you can go. The first one I'm going to show you is the generic Devos build. That way, you can go ahead and get that out your mind. And then I'm going to show you a for fun build with Danza. So, for the generic build, you're either going to go, again, Hunter's Cowl or Death Toll. This character is a little bit mana hungry, so Death Toll is probably going to be the better option, but the extra attack speed is never bad because, every time you auto, the higher chance you get to spawn a clone. So, completely up to you. Me, personally, I like going Death Toll with this character. Up next, you're going to go Devourer's Gauntlet. And then after this, it's a toss-up. If you want the extra damage, you're going to want to go Kinsblade. If you want the extra attack speed to help you clear, you want to go Odysseus Bow. Danzaburou specifically, you don't really need Odysseus Bow, but Odysseus Bow here isn't a bad thing. But again, me personally, I like going Kinsblade here. This build also is not going to involve Dagger of Frenzy, because Dagger of Frenzy's whole point is to help you do extra damage, but Devils is going to take care of that for you, so you don't really need this card. After this, you can go Executioner, and then once you get here, then you can start building into crit, so Demon Blade and Deathbringer. Your last card is more than likely going to be some type of pen, so probably Titan's Bane. You can go a little bit more attack speed with Dagger Frenzy if you really want it, but the active that I recommend with this build is Bloodforge. Now I know what I said before with Neith, because you have, because most people are going to be building anti-heal against you, or just in general, you're not going to get a lot of value from the lifesteal. However, Bloodforge is not there for the lifesteal. It is there simply for the health shield that you get, right? Because the health shield will help you stay alive, and even though your healing is not going to be as strong, because you have Death's Toll and Devils with a Bloodforge, you're going to be healing a lot. So it's going to be a hell of a lot harder to kill you. Plus, keep in mind, since you're going to be playing Danza and having these clones out, all of this is going to lifesteal for you. And as you can see, the clones are just absolutely insane. And the clones will basically do most of the work for you. Keep in mind, while you have this up, it doubles your chances to spawn a clone. So you're going to be pumping out a lot of DPS whenever you have all your aspects on. Well, whenever you have this aspect on. So let me go ahead and show you the for fun build with Danza to make it more clone friendly, and we can go ahead and move on to number 1 after that. Okay, so the fun build for Danza is more of a mage build. This can still work in the carry lane, do not get it wrong. However, I do not recommend this too much, because most of his stuff scales with strength. So your ability is not going to hit that hard. However, your clones are going to be spawning in constantly. So if you want to have fun, you can just build the generic mage build on him. So you can go Conduit Gem. You're going to go Book of Thoth. I would recommend building Berserker. You're going to need a little bit of extra attack speed. So build this Chronos Pendant so you can spawn those clones as much as possible. You want to go ahead and go Polynomicon. That way, whenever you cast an ability, your next auto is going to hit extremely hard. You're going to want Rada Sahudi and probably Spirit Desolation, just to kind of round out your cooldowns. However, you can also go Totem of Death here. I like Totem of Death because it does give you the little bit of extra pen. It gives you some cooldowns, and whenever one of your abilities hit, you're going to get extra pen. And I do believe that the clones count as abilities. And if you look above your little your marker above your head, without going into your 3, you already have a 43% chance to spawn a clone. And this is without your Book of Thoth being maxed. So, little for fun build. I don't recommend this, but this will nuke somebody if you cycle properly. It's always going to be, honestly, always going to be constantly spawning these clones. And you're always going to be getting Polynomicon procs. So, this is a for fun build. I wouldn't recommend this, but if you're trying to be clone heavy, this is something that you can do. But the attack speed build is still way better on it. And finally, at number 1, I want to talk about Izanami. Now, Izanami is the staple for Easy Hunter. Automatic clear with just her basic attacks. Really long range slow. Attack speed stem that does tick damage, an invis, and a silencing ult. Literally has everything you need to be a really good hunter. And because of her stem, it makes it very difficult for other ADCs to kind of fight into her in a boxing match. Plus, because of her stem as well, she can nuke towers just as fast as Danzo or any other members of the cast. And because she has an invis, it's very easy for her to sneak push. Plus, unlike other characters' invises, she actually has range on her invis. So she can be poking at you from far away, and the second you get just a little bit too close, invis will walk away. And they have to guess where you're going. Because no ward or anything is going to make you, nothing on the ward is going to make you pop up. Plus, her passive makes it to where whenever you lose health, you gain penetration and damage. which makes it to where the tick damage on your 1 hits a lot harder, and the tick damage on your ult hits harder the lower your health gets. So basically, she has everything handed to her as far as an ADC goes. I don't think she's the best of the best, obviously, because again, these videos aren't in pertaining to any tier list per se. But because of how easy she is probably the staple to pick up when you're trying to learn ADC. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you the weakened build.
Under attack.
I don't like it. I'm just gonna go ahead and go out on a limb and say it now, because the weakened build doesn't really start all that great, but we're gonna go ahead and show you it anyway in case you just want to have a little bit of fun. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I'm not a pro player, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you it anyway, just in case there's something you might actually like. So you're gonna go Bumba's Golden Dagger, because it does give you attack speed and health, and it does give you extra strength, and makes your ability to do true damage and your auto do true damage to jungle camps, structures, and bosses. So this is going to actually help you with objective clearing. So this is actually not a bad card on an ADC. Next, he says to build Sunbeam Bow. Now, Sunbeam Bow I haven't seen in the meta in a very long time, but this does give you strength, it does give you intelligence, it does give you attack speed, and it's an active to where it makes you fire off more shots that do, and it does a pretty healthy amount of damage. Plus, this is an infinite active as long as you have mana. So, if you have mana, have this active and just start chucking these, but keep in mind, this will start nuking your mana, because this is something at, what, level 20? Let me show you what it looks like more at level... you'll probably have this at level 5 or 6, so you're probably going to be right about here. Right about here. So keep in mind, your mana consumption is going to be very low. It's going to eat up your mana the more you keep chucking these out. So keep that in mind. You can alleviate this by having... And then this is just you holding autos, because you're still going to be casting abilities. You're still going to be ulting, you're still going to be using your abilities. So this is going to nuke your mana very, very quickly. So keep that in mind. Don't always have it active, but have it ready when you need it. The next card, he says, is to build its kin size and build the executioner. This I agree with, because these two cards are staples for every ADC, because you need to be able to nuke tanks. Your job is to kill the tanks and to take objective. So having those two cards on is going to be a very big must. Up next, he says go Bragi's Heart. Again, I don't agree with it, but Izanami does get dual scalings, and Sunbeam Bow does build into both her intelligence and her strength scaling, so this card is going to be really good on her. And then to round out your pen, he says go Titan's Bane. And then finally, for your last card, to round out all this attack speed, is to go Odysseus Bow. This is still a goofy build. I don't 100% necessarily agree with it, but I gotta admit, this build does look fun. So you can go ahead and test it. I'm probably going to test it out a little bit. I don't necessarily agree with the start, but hey, this does still do a pretty decent amount of damage, so take that as you will. Anyway, thanks to everybody who watched. I appreciate all of you. If you think somebody else is a little bit easier, let me know. Let me know in the comment section. If you have any God requests that you want me to do a video on, please leave in the comment section below. Thank y'all for watching, and y'all have a nice day.